Theorem 10.8. Before we go for theorem 10.8, let's see about an angle subtended by an arc of a circle. In this figure, AB and CD are two equal chords of a circle with center O. Then what about arcs AB and CD? In fact, arcs AB and CD are also equal, or we can say they are congruent. So if two chords of a circle are equal, then corresponding arcs are congruent, and conversely, if two arcs of a circle are congruent, then corresponding chords are equal. Now let's join endpoints of arcs AB and CD to the center as shown in this figure. Angle AOB is said to be subtended by the arc AB and also by the chord AB at the center O. Similarly, angle COD is said to be subtended by the arc CD and also by the chord CD at the center. AB and CD are two equal chords, and in theorem 10.1 we have already proved that equal chords of a circle subtend equal angles at the center. Therefore, angle AOB is equal to angle COD. These two equal angles AOB and COD are subtended by congruent arcs AB and CD. Hence, we can conclude that congruent arcs of a circle subtend equal angles at the center. Now we can go for theorem 10.8, which states that the angle subtended by an arc of a circle at the center is twice the angle subtended by it at any point in the remaining part of the circle. In this figure, PQ is an arc which subtends angle POQ at the center of the circle O. Same arc PQ also subtends an angle PAQ at point A in the remaining part of the circle, and we have to prove that angle POQ is equal to twice of angle PAQ. That is, angle subtended by the arc PQ at the center O, POQ, is double of the angle subtended by the arc PQ at point A, which is in the remaining part of the circle, angle PAQ. So let's write given arc PQ subtends angle POQ at the center O and angle PAQ at A in the remaining part of the circle. And we have to prove that angle POQ is equal to 2 into angle PAQ. That is, angle POQ is twice of angle PAQ. Let us consider the three possibilities of arc PQ, because for any arc of a circle there can be three possibilities about the arc. The arc PQ can be a minor arc, it can be a semicircle, and also it can be a major arc as shown in these figures. Considering three possibilities for the arc PQ as minor arc, semicircle and major arc, we shall prove this theorem for these three possibilities of the arc PQ. Let's begin the proof of this theorem by joining AO and extending it to a point B as shown in these three figures. In the figure, first figure, if you see, O is center and A and P are the points on the circle, so OA and OP are equal. Angle BOP is an exterior angle for triangle OAP, and angle OAP and OPA both are equal because OA and OP are radii of the same circle. So triangle OAP is an isosceles triangle, and similarly triangle OAB is also an isosceles triangle. So here, if we apply exterior angle properties, we can write that angle BOP is equal to angle OAP plus angle OPA. So this exterior angle property we are going to apply here to prove this theorem, and we shall prove this theorem for all these three cases. Consider three possibilities of arc PQ as minor arc, semicircle and major arc. And we shall prove this theorem for these three cases. For all these three cases, we have angle BOP is equal to angle OAP plus angle OPA. You can see in the figure OAP plus angle OPA. This is exterior angle property. Exterior angle property. But angle OAP is equal to angle OPA. Reason is OA and OP being radii of the same circle, they are equal. So therefore angle BOP is equal to angle OAP plus angle OPA, we are going to write equal to OAP, angle OAP, which is equal to twice of angle OAP. So angle BOP is equal to 2 into angle OAP, and let it be number 1. And this relation we have written in all these three cases when arc PQ is minor arc in first figure, arc PQ is a semicircle in second figure, and arc PQ is a major arc in this third figure. So in all these first, second, third figures we have written this same relation, angle BOP is equal to twice of angle OAP. Similarly, we can write angle BOQ is equal to twice of angle OAQ. Similarly, we can prove that angle BOQ is equal to twice of angle OAQ, and let it be number 2. Adding 1 and 2, we get that we can write from 1 and 2, from 1 and 2 we get angle BOP plus angle BOQ, angle BOP plus angle BOQ is equal to twice of angle OAP plus twice of angle OAQ. So we are going to take 2 common, and so we can write 2 into angle OAP plus angle OAQ, and from here we can write this implies angle BOP plus BOQ, angle POQ is equal to 2 into this angle OAP plus angle OAQ will be equal to angle PAQ, and this proves that angle POQ is twice of angle PAQ, that is angle subtended by the arc PQ at the center of the circle O is double the angle subtended by the same arc PQ at a point A in the remaining part of the circle. But if you see case 3, third case, in which arc PQ is a major arc, then this angle POQ needs to be replaced by reflex angle POQ. So this can be written as reflex angle POQ is equal to 2 into angle PAQ. So this proves that angle subtended by an arc of a circle at the center is twice the angle subtended by the same arc at any point in the remaining part of the circle. So hence proved. Now theorem 10.9. Angles in the same segment are equal. See in this figure, angle PAQ and angle PBQ are two angles subtended by the arc PQ at points A and B in the remaining part of the circle. This is actually application of theorem 10.8. If you join end points of arc PQ, it will be a chord, and this chord PQ divides the circle into two segments. One is minor segment and other one is major segment. Angle PAQ and angle PBQ, both the angles are in the same major segment. So that's why it is said in this theorem that angles in the same segment are equal. Angle POQ is subtended by the chord PQ or even arc PQ at the center, and angle PAQ and angle PBQ are the angles subtended by the arc PQ at points A and B in the remaining part of the circle. So using theorem 10.8, we can write that angle PAQ is equal to, half of angle POQ, and also angle PBQ is equal to half of angle POQ, because arc PQ subtends angle POQ at the center, and the same arc PQ subtends angle PAQ and PBQ at 2 points A and B in the remaining part of the circle actually. So that's why we have written, using theorem 10.8, we have written these two relations. Angle PAQ equal to half of angle POQ and PBQ is equal to half of angle POQ. Therefore we can write angle PAQ is equal to angle PBQ, and this proves that angles in the same segment are equal. So this is one very small proof Now if you see the second case of theorem 10.8, as second figure is shown here, PAQ is an angle in a semicircle, because PAQ is a semicircle and angle PAQ is an angle in semicircle PAQ actually, because arc PQ in this case is a semicircle, so PAQ is also a semicircle. So if you apply theorem 10.8 in this case, then angle POQ will be equal to 180 degrees, because POQ is diameter of the circle with center O, and PAQ is equal to half of angle POQ. So this is equal to half of 180 degrees. So angle PAQ is equal to 90 degrees. This angle PAQ is 90 degrees only because angle PAQ is in a semicircle. So this gives a very good and important conclusion that angles in a semicircle are always right angle. So you can see in this figure also angle PAB and angle PAQ and angle PBQ are two angles in semicircle. So in this figure, angle, you can write angle PAQ and also angle PBQ, both are 90 degree each, because they are angles in the same semicircles actually. So this way angles in semicircle are always right angles. Cyclic quadrilateral. A quadrilateral whose all four vertices lie on a circle is called cyclic quadrilateral. In this figure, ABCD is a quadrilateral whose four vertices lie on a circle, so this quadrilateral is a cyclic quadrilateral. Theorem 10.11 states that the sum of either pair of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral is 180 degrees. That is, both the pairs of opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. In the cyclic quadrilateral ABCD, angle A plus angle C is equal to 180 degrees. Angle B plus angle D is equal to 180 degrees. Theorem 10.12 says that if the sum of a pair of opposite angles of a quadrilateral is 180 degrees, then quadrilateral is cyclic. If a side of a cyclic quadrilateral is produced outside, you can see in this figure, ABCD is a cyclic quadrilateral and side BC is produced outside to a point E. Then angle DCE is exterior angle of the cyclic quadrilateral ABCD, and this exterior angle DCE is equal to the interior opposite angle. In this figure, angle DCE is equal to angle A, or you can write angle BAD. So this property is exterior angle property of a cyclic quadrilateral. In case any one side of a cyclic quadrilateral is produced outside, then exterior angle is formed, and that exterior angle formed outside of the cyclic quadrilateral is equal to interior opposite angles. Why it is equal to interior opposite angles? You can see in this figure, angle A plus angle C equal to 180 degrees. Very easy to understand. angle A plus angle C in the figure is equal to 180 degrees, and angle C plus angle DCE also equal to 180 degrees. Therefore, angle C plus angle DCE is equal to angle A plus angle C. From both sides, if angle C is cancelled, then you get angle DCE is equal to angle A, or you can write angle DCE is equal to angle BAD. Angle DCE is exterior angle and angle BAD is interior opposite angle, and this way exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to interior opposite angle.